Hi everyone. In this tutorial, we will talk about implementation of a file manager. We will be creating an API for uploading a file into the Spring Boot application, and we will also see how to download that uploaded file from the server. We will also create a page where we list all the uploaded files, and with just one click of a button, we can download that file from the server. We will also dive deep into the download file implementation because the most commonly used way of doing the downloader is not actually the best way to do it. We will analyze this in detail using the downloader accelerator tool, Internet Download Manager, and see how we can overcome it. We will also implement the faster way to do it with just one line of code change. So without further ado, let's get started. Let us start by creating a new project. Let me go into start.spring.io, the Spring Initializer tool, and let us use the default values. Let us use the Gradle Groovy, language as Java, the latest Java LTS version 21 at the moment, and the packaging is jar. Let me just fill these fields, the group, genuine coder, artifact, let me just call it as FM, and the name maybe online file manager. Let us name the project as Online File Manager, and we need to add some dependencies. So the main dependency we need is the simple Spring Boot Starter web dependency because this is a web application. Let me also add the library TimeLeaf so that I can show some HTML, render some HTML content also. So for that, we will add TimeLeaf as well. Then let me generate the project. Okay, the project is generated, and let me extract that. Let us open this project in IntelliJ IDEA now. So IDEA projects, FM, and here we go. All right, so the project is created. You can see the build.gradle file here. Let me maximize this window. So you can see that the libraries we added, the Spring Boot Starter Web and Spring Boot Starter TimeLeaf is there. So all is good. And this is our main class. And let us start by creating our first controller for implementing the upload option, right? So for that, let me create a new Java class and let me name it as File Manager Controller. So File Manager Controller, and this will be a REST controller because we'll be handling the REST API here. And the first thing we need to do is to create a post mapping, right? So that the file can be posted into the server. So I will create a post mapping here at post mapping, and the endpoint is going to be /upload file. All right, now let me write public void upload file, and the auto completion provided by IntelliJ is correct. Let me just fill it, and here you can see I'll be uploading a file using the request param file, and the type of the parameter is going to be a multipart file. So when you upload a file to the server, it is going to be referenced as a multipart file. So we will just import it, multipart file. This is from Spring Framework Web Multipart, so that is fine, and we will process with it. And one thing we need to do when using a multipart file is to specify what is the maximum size of the multipart file we will support. So for that, we have to go into the application.properties file and add some options here. So if you search for multipart here, multipart, you can see that there is a multipart maximum file size, and by default only 1 MB of maximum file size is allowed. So I will change that. I will change that into maybe 2 GB. So it will accept maximum 2 GB file. So it is up to you. So if you want to have lower, you can provide a lower value there. And let me look for multipart maximum request size. So let us set the maximum request size also to 2 GB. So that maximum file size is 2 GB and maximum request size is also 2 GB. Okay, then let us come back to the file manager controller, and here you can see that we have the incoming file. So the client is uploading the file and we are getting the file reference. Now we want to save that, right? We want to save that into our own folder. So let us do that next. So to process the incoming file, let me create a new class here, something like a file storage controller, file storage service. Let us name it as file storage service, and we do every file operation like saving a file, getting a file, etc. here. Okay, so let me name it as at service, and here I need to write a function for saving the file. So save file, and what is going to be the incoming parameter, it is going to be a multipart file from the controller. So incoming file, or maybe I will name it as file to save, right? Now we want to save this into a file inside a directory. So first let me specify the storage directory so that all the files will be stored in that directory or folder. So let me name it as private static final string storage directory, and let me decide which folder. So I have a data folder and storage. So I have a drive called a D drive, and inside there I have created a folder called storage, and every incoming file I want to store into this folder. So in that case I can simply copy this and put it like this, d/storage. So all the files will be uploaded, files will be saved into that folder. Okay, now let us create a target file, and the target file will be the location at which the multipart file will be saved in our storage directory. So var target file equals, and IntelliJ is providing a suggestion. Let us see how good it is. So it is going to be inside storage directory. That is correct. And this separator only works on Linux. So to have a proper separator, you have to use file.separator, and this will use the proper separator based on the platform. If it is Windows, it will be like // If it is // then it will use that on the Linux platform. And the file to save dot get original file name. So the multipart file has an option called get original file name, and this will take the actual file name the customer user for upload, right? So for example, if the customer is uploading a file called IntelliJ.exe, then we will get that name by calling this function file to save dot get original file name. So that is good, right? All right, now we need to handle some cases here. The first case is if the file to save is null, we shouldn't proceed with the saving the file. So if file to save is null, we should throw an exception, throw new, maybe runtime exception, saying that file to save is null. Yeah. So if the incoming file is null, we shouldn't proceed with the saving. And we have a security problem here. That problem is, here you can see we are using the file name given by the user of this API. So whatever the file name is given during the upload, we will be using that to save the file. The problem with that is some hackers can use some special naming scheme to go beyond this storage directory. One example is if they put some // value in the original file name, then they can create new folders inside the storage directory. They can also go backwards. So they will be able to provide some special naming scheme that will let them go back to the D drive and create some files there. So there are many kind of security issues that can happen when you save a file like this. So we have to add a simple security check here, and that is going to be, we have to check for equality. So if objects dot equals the file to save, so the target file get parent. So the parent of this target file must be the storage directory, right? If it is not, we should throw an exception, security exception. So what this is checking is, we will create a target file based on the name they have provided, and we will confirm that the parent is indeed the D storage drive. If it is not, we will not allow them to save it. So we will throw new security exception, unsupported file name. All right, unsupported file name. So that security issue is handled there. Now what we need to do is simply copy the content of this multipart file into our target file. So for that, I will use files.copy, and here we can provide the source first, and the input stream is supported. So I will use it like file to save get input stream, and then we have to provide the target file. So our target file is here. So target file to path, and we can provide some options. So I will use a standard copy option, replace existing, because if they upload two files with the same name, we will replace the existing file. So you can provide your own extra logic here. Like if you want to provide some numbering, like if file already exists, if you want to provide some 001 or 002 annotation, all that logic you can add it here. So for now, we will do it like this, and this will save the file. So let me add that IO exception throw into the function signature, and we are good to go. Now let us use this file storage service inside the file manager controller. So I will auto wire it here at auto wired private file storage service, and we can simply call file storage service dot save file with the multipart file, right? Yes, of course we need to handle some exception here, so I will use the wrap statement. I will put that in a try catch method here, and then I need to add a logger so that I can add some messages if some exception happens. So let me create private static final logger log equals logger.getLogger file manager controller. All right, so that is done, and let me put the logger here. So when some error happens, log.log level.severe exception during upload, and I will simply put the parameter here. And I also would like to return a value, like if the save was successful or if the save is successful, I would like to return a true value, otherwise false. So I can do it like this, return true here. If some exception happens, I will simply return false. Okay, so that is about our upload file controller. Let me try running this application. So let us start the application, okay, and test this. Okay, the application is starting. Let me open the Postman, and here let me create a new post request. So it is going to be a post request with the localhost 8080/upload file. So the endpoint is upload file, right? And regarding the data we need to submit, it is going to be a file with the request param name file. So for that, I will go into the body section and go into the form data section. And here I can choose an option like what kind of data I am submitting. So I'll be submitting a file, right? So here I will name the parameter as file, and then I will choose the select file option, and let me choose a file. So let me upload a big file like IDEA IO IntelliJ IDEA setup file, which is around 979 MB. It is not that big, but still for a sample file, it is quite big. And let me make a send request, right? Okay, so it is sending the request. Let us see what is happening here. You can see the application is started. Let us wait for the upload to complete. And you can see we got the response true. Now let us go ahead and check the folder we have, D storage directory. And here you can see that our uploaded file is coming in this directory. Let us try just one more file. So let me try another file, maybe select files. What else do I have? So springjwt.pptx, and send that file. So it is uploaded, and you can see it is now appearing in the storage directory. So that is the basic idea of uploading files to a Spring Boot application. Let us see how to create an endpoint for file downloading next. So far we have finished our upload process. So for downloading, we'll be using a get mapping because it is going to be a get function. So at get mapping, and we will bind it to /download path. And regarding the response value, it is going to be a response entity. So response entity from Spring Framework HTTP package, and we will be sending a resource. So we'll use this Java Framework core.io resource. So we'll be sending a resource as a response when downloading a file. So the rest is like this download file. Let us use the auto completion. So in the auto completion, it provided the request parameter as file. That is correct, but the multipart file is incorrect. We will be just receiving a name of the file. So we will read the name of the file to be downloaded from the request using the get parameter file, and we will return that file to the user for downloading. So to download the file, first we need to create an object of the file, or we need to create a reference to that file we want to download. So for that, let us go into this file storage service, and here we have the save file right now. Let us create a another function, file get download file, right? And what we will pass, we will be passing the file name passed from the controller. So from the file name, the first thing we need to do is to prepare the file. So file, maybe var file, just var file to download equals, and let's see. So we will be creating the file from a storage directory, file separator, file name. So that is correct, right? We will get a reference to the file to download from our storage directory. And before that, we need to do one check. If file name equal to null, sorry, we will have to provide an exception. So throw new null pointer exception, and we will say that file name is null, right? The file name has to be non-null, and then we will prepare the file. Now we need to do this security check. This is also important because just like upload, hackers can compromise your system by giving invalid file name as path. So using some special file names, they will be able to access other directories that is within the storage directory or within the D drive itself. So it is mandatory that you do the security check. So I'll just copy this one and put it here. So objects not equals, if the parent of the target file is not the storage directory, we throw the security exception. We need to do one last check, that is if file to download doesn't exist, right? Like file to download exists. So if the file to download doesn't exist, we will also have to throw an exception. So throw new file not found exception, file not found exception, no file named, maybe, yeah, named plus file name. So if the file doesn't exist, throw a new file not found exception. What is the problem here? Yeah, it is an unhandled exception. Yeah, that's okay. We can put a throw IO exception, throws exception. Okay, so if the file exists and there is no security issue, then we can simply return that file for customer to, or the guest or the user to download. So we will return the file, which is file to download. All right, now we have to use this function from our controller. So I will use that here, file storage service, get download file, file name, and we will get that file here. So var file to download, right? And we have to handle some exceptions here. So if any of the issues happen, if any of these errors happened, it will be throwing an exception. So we have to handle it. So when an exception happens, we have to return that error. This is the error we have faced. So for that, you can do it like this: response entity. Then you can maybe say bad request, right? Or maybe not found, maybe, yeah, not found dot build. So you can provide your own customized response here, anything that let the user know that that is an invalid request. So not found means the file is not found in the server. That is a good option. Now let us see how we can return this file for downloading. So for returning it, we will use the same response entity. So response entity, and instead of an error state, we will say that it was an okay. This is an okay response, right? So everything is good. I am sending you the file. So response entity dot okay. Then we have to provide something like a content length, like a length of the response that we are returning. So for that, we can use file to download dot length, which will return the size of the file that is being downloaded. And we have to provide the content type, and the content type is going to be application octet stream. So what this means is there are different content types. For example, JSON type is there. You can see application JSON value is there, text value is there. So here, since we are sending a file, it is actually a binary blob. So for that, we will use octet stream, application octet stream, right? Then we have to provide the body, which is going to be new input stream resource, and the input stream resource accepts an input stream. So we can convert the file into an input stream. So files dot new input stream, and we will give file to download, and it has to be a path. It requires a path. So we will call the get path, maybe two path function. So this is the bare minimum requirement for providing a file for download. This is not complete, but let us see what happens if we run the code at this moment. So what is going to happen is the file will download, but it will not have a proper name after downloading because we haven't provided any file name or anything here. So let us confirm this. So first, let me go into Postman, make a new request, and see localhost 8080/download, and I can provide a file name, right? So I will give it like this. So download, and in the query parameter, what we have to give? We have to give the file parameter. So let me update it. That is more clear. So let me change that to file name and restart the application. That is more clear. So for that, I will give it like this, file name, and here I have to give a file name to download. So in the last run, we have uploaded 2 files, and the file manager have these 2 files. So let me try downloading this, maybe spring.jwt.pptx, right? So let me copy that name and paste that value here and send a request. And you can see we are getting the data. It is showing us a weird thing because Postman cannot show the actual PPT format or anything. So what we can do is we can try this in our Google Chrome browser. Firefox browser. So let me open Firefox, put the URL here, and you can see it downloaded the file. But it has a problem. You can see that the downloaded file name is just a download. So we have to specify that file name that is given for download. So for that, you can give a value like content header, and in the header you can give http headers dot content disposition, right? This is the thing that you have to use, and here you have to provide that it is going to be an attachment, and the file name is going to be the file name that we are going to give. So I'm just accepting the auto completion provided by IntelliJ. So this is what you have to add. You have to provide the content disposition header and specify that this is going to be an attachment with the given file name. So that is a universally accepted format, and when we give that, the browser will be able to properly detect the file name during download. And here you can see it downloaded with the proper file name, right? So that is the basic idea of downloading a file from our Spring Boot application. Now, let me tell you how to improve this downloader. This downloader code is actually the standard one. For example, if you go to Google and search for how to download file from Spring Boot and go to the first Stack Overflow result and check it, you can see that they are using the method we have used, right? They are using the input stream resource, and that is the recommended way. So they are creating an input stream resource and passing the input stream there to download. So this works okay, and this has been the recommended approach in the past. But it has one problem. The problem is it does not support multi-part downloading or downloading of a file by converting that into multiple chunks. Let me show that to you using a download manager. So I have installed the Internet Download Manager, IDM. And let me take our URL, right? So the URL is this is for downloading the Spring JWT file. Let me take a bigger file. Let me go into the storage directory and let me try to download this 900 MB file, right? And let me give that name here and paste that into Internet Download Manager. Or you can try any download manager that supports downloading by splitting the file into multiple chunks. So here I gave that and I click on OK function, and I have this dialog, start download. And here you can see it has a resume capability, no. And only one section. Usually, if you have tried any download managers, you would see that it usually download the data from multiple chunks, which actually improves or actually doubles or quadruples the actual download speed. Since this is localhost, since this is downloading from my own computer, there is no network delay or anything. So I have actually limited the download speed to 4 MB per second for demonstration. But actually, in real world situation, this is actually a very slow approach. But what if I tell you that you can support multi-part downloading or downloading by support downloading with a resume capability, or allowing this kind of download manager to download different chunks of the file in parallel, which will improve the speed a lot very easily. So that is actually a very easy task, but I always wonder why people are suggesting the old method everywhere, because in my line of work, I actually wanted to support the faster downloads, and I had to do a lot of research to actually find out the best way to do so. So let me tell you how to do that. It is very easy. So I will just copy this function, so /download, and put it into download faster. Okay, and the only line of change that I am going to make is going to be in here. So instead of input stream resource, I will provide a new thing called new file system resource. And the good thing is it even accepts a file. We don't even have to convert the file into an input stream or anything. And here regarding the download file, I will put it as download file faster. And let us try this one. Okay, so let me start the application, go to Internet Download Manager again, and let me add another URL. So that is going to be, let me take the old URL and just update it. That is much faster, right? So let me copy this and add URL here. And here, instead of download, I will go with the download faster and click on OK. And here you can see that it is downloading from 4 different chunks. Actually, it is not just 4, it will support any number of multiple parts if you want to download. For example, there are settings to change, like how many parallel downloads you want to have for a single file. You can set that to like 32, up to 32, and Spring Boot does support it. So the way it works is, assume that you want to download a 1 GB file, and the way this works is, if the download manager is downloading the file using 4 different parts, first it will start downloading of a part of the file from 0 MB to 250 MB. So that is one part that is currently being downloaded. At the same time, it will start download of the second part, which is from 250 MB to 500 MB. Then at the same time, 500 MB to 750 and 750 to 1 GB part will also be downloaded. So these 4 downloads will happen together so that the download speed will be increased. So this is actually, if you don't know about this, this is actually a great thing, and it works really fast. In real world systems, this actually increases the speed of the download by 2 times or 4 times or even 6 times to 10 times sometimes. So this is very effective, and if you are developing your own file manager, I seriously recommend to go with this kind of file system resource which allows this feature. Let us see what is happening. Let me show you in the code what happens in the code when you download using these 2 different endpoints. So for that, let me add a log here, level.info, and I will add a tag here for easy identification. So here I will put like a normal download and downloading with /download. So when the normal download is requested, this function will be called, right? That's right. And now here, let us add a similar log. So this is going to be not normal. Let me add the tag as faster and download with a download faster. So we have those 2 options here. Let me restart the application and let me show you something very interesting happens here. So here, let me go into the Firefox, copy the URL, and then let me add that into Internet Download Manager. So this is my IDM. Let me remove the existing download. I don't need it at the moment. Add URL. So first, I am trying to download using the normal method. Okay. So it is starting, right? It start download, and you can see it showed that resume capability no. And you can see something interesting here. So it tried to download it 4 times. The 4 parts were requested, but the first one was succeeded, but the second and third one was rejected. The 4th one was also rejected. The 5th one, I cancelled it, hence the error message. Let me show you that again. So if we try to download it once more, like this, add a duplicate with a duplicate name, start download. See, it tried to download as 4 parts, but the first request succeeded, second request failed, third request failed, 4th request failed. See, it is saying async request not usable exception, servlet output stream failed to write, like that, because it is not supported in that normal downloader. But when we try to download it using the download faster method, all those requests will succeed and it will actually download the file using the multipart downloading. So for that, let us try with the download faster option. And here you can see that it tried to download it with the 5 request, but 4 of them completed because we only need it 4 times, right? You can see it called the faster 5 times. One was cancelled for some checks or something, but the 4 one it actually needs for the 4 part download, it is succeeded. Now if I cancel it, it will all say servlet output exception because before the completion of the download it was interrupted. That is why that message is coming. So that's it, guys. That's the idea of downloading using a Spring Boot application or Spring Boot server. Now, let us try to create an HTML page for uploading a file. So we will provide a button to choose a file and we will have it uploaded. So for that, let us make use of ChatGPT. Let me open ChatGPT and give the commands or the requirements for our web page. So let me write it like this. I want to create a single page HTML, CSS, and JS that will provide option to upload a file, right? So that is our requirement. Make it pretty with the CSS styling. Okay, and then we need to provide the details of the API. So our API is going to be upload file. The API for upload is, or maybe the endpoint for upload is /upload file with request parameter with file submitted as multipart file with the param name file, right? And we can even give a screenshot of this function to give a better understanding. So let me try to take a screenshot this part and directly upload it here. I have attached the Spring Boot file upload endpoint. Okay, now let us see how it creates it. Let us wait for the building to complete. So it is creating like this index.html like that. Yeah, it has an upload form. And it didn't follow my single page CSS plus HTML plus JS on a single file. So let me tell them I want CSS plus HTML plus JS on a single one single HTML file. Okay, so it should give me the whole thing in one single file. Yes, that is what we need. So while it is generating, let me go ahead and create a folder or a file here. So the folder we are interested in is templates. That is what the Spring Boot time leaf uses. So in the template, let me provide a value like that. So in the template, I will name it as uploader.html, right? So we have the uploader.html file. And then let me copy the code. Yeah, the code is ready. Let me paste it here. That is pasted. Now we want to link to this HTML page, right? We want to create an endpoint for that one. So for that, I will come here in the file manager controller, or I will let me create a simple one. So let me create a new file here. File manager GUI controller. And instead of at REST controller, I will put just at controller because if I put REST controller, then it will consider the response as a REST API data instead of a template name. So that is okay. Then in the get mapping, I will provide what should be the name. So let us call it as uploader, right? So when I try to access uploader, I want the GUI. So public string uploader, return uploader. Okay, because this is the name of the HTML, so I am linking it like that. All right, now let me restart the application. Go into the browser, then go into localhost 8080/uploader, right? Here you can see we have a nice page. Let us try choosing a file. So browse, let me pick a file. So which file should I? Let us try to use this table convert.xlx file, right? Yeah, open, upload. it is uploaded successfully. Let us go into our storage folder, and here you can see the uploaded file is here. So that's how you link it to your GUI. You can actually create GUI like this, simple GUI using ChatGPT. So the same thing you can do for listing the files and providing download option. Let us give that also a try. Generate a template. So what template? So TimeLeaf template that lists all files within a directory. Okay, so we have to list all the files within a directory, which is our D storage, like what our storage directory. When clicked on a row, I want to download that file using the API. What is our download API? Download faster, right? With file name, with get parameter file name to download it. File name. Let me also give that information like a screenshot so that it will get better idea of the function. So something like this is enough. I have attached the controller method signature. Okay. Let us see how it generates it. Okay, so it is generating the code. You can see that it is adding the CSS, JavaScript and everything in one file. I think JS is not needed. JavaScript might not be needed for this one because this will be handled directly. I mean, the events will be handled, can be handled directly from the TimeLeaf controller itself. Yes, that's right. There is no JS code, right? That's correct. And they are also providing a structure for our template. Like we have to provide the files, right? Whatever the files there are available. So let's just see. So first thing first, let me copy this one. Copy the list files.html, new file. Maybe can I try like just like the no. So list files.html. Okay, so the HTML code is added. Now we need to add the code. Okay, so let me copy this function and come back to file manager controller, and here let us add it, and let us understand what is happening here, right? Yeah. Okay, so the first thing they are doing is they are creating a directory stream that will list all the files from that directory and getting the name of those files, converting that into a string and collecting that to a list. So basically what it is doing is it is creating a list of files from our directory, our required directory, and then giving the attribute as a files array, or sorry, array, it can be a list or array. So here it is giving it as a list, and that list is used within the template code. Here you can see for each files create a table row like that. So that is what is happening here. What we have to do is we have to provide the storage location here. So where is our storage location? That is in the D storage. So instead of making this private static, let me make it public static, and I can simply access the storage directory from there. So here, let me put it like storage directory. And what is the problem? New file to path, right? Okay, so by adding the slash list files, it should be all right. So here, instead of list files, it should be list files so that it matches with the HTML structure. And one more problem is this is a REST controller, right? So we can't provide the data like this here. We have to provide that function in the GUI controller because that is a REST controller and this is a normal controller. Okay, now let us run the application. And here, let us try list. I forgot the name. Just a moment. Yeah, list files. Okay. And here you can see we have a nice list. So we have 3 files uploaded and all those files are listed here. Let's just try uploading one more file also. So localhost 8080 slash uploader, right? So uploader, browse a file. Then here, let me upload another fm.zip, right? Our project.zip upload, refresh, and here you can see it is uploaded. And if I click on the download button, you can see it is downloading the big file, that is the IntelliJ IDEA file. If I click on the fm.zip, it is downloading that file. So that's it, guys. We have developed the API. So in this tutorial, we have developed the API and also the GUI for a file manager in Spring Boot. I hope this tutorial has been helpful for you. I will see you on the next one. Bye.